So obviously, class is a very malleable concept, and as you've said, in the US, most people define themselves as middle class, which makes it kind of even a harder concept to grasp, which is why I think upper middle class is a better way to think about it, because it kind of breaks out the sort of group at the top 15 or 20% at the top. It's not just about economics, it's about education, it's about family, it's about all kinds of things. But just to focus on income for a moment, my reading of economic trends, and when I say my reading of economic trends, I mean my reading of Gary Burtless's reading of economic trends or other colleagues' reading of it, is that really the actions towards the top, so there hasn't been much really any increase in income inequality in the bottom 80% in the last 30, 40 years. So the kind of the shape of the income, it looks broadly similar today for the bottom 80 as it did before, but then you start to see this pulling away happening the top quintile, top 20%, and then of course as you get more towards the top, then you can see that gets stronger. The elastic stretches kind of even more. But if you're looking for a point at which, say from about 1980 onwards, when we did see this increase in economic inequality, where in the distribution does it take place? And it's not just at the 99th percentile. So it's not just a we are the 99% story. You can point to the top 1% and see this huge stratospheric gains. Usually you have to change the left-hand axis on your chart, of course, which makes it look even more dramatic. And that's certainly true, although there's quite a lot of movement in and out of that top 1%, of course. It's not a fixed group like any of these. None of these groups are fixed. But also, actually, the top fifth have done pretty well. So they may not have done as well as the top 1%, but if you're looking for a kind of group, where's the line between the people that have kind of been doing progressively better? It is, I think, much broader than the top 1%. It's not to say there isn't an issue with the top 1%. I mean, I've been criticised for being exculpatory of the top 1%, and that's not the case if you read the book. I think there's a lot that we can do to tax the top 1% more, and so on. And I'm very worried about the influence of money in politics, although it wasn't my subject. But I think that it's just too easy to only look up. I think it's too easy for someone on the 95th percentile, or someone who's on 250,000 a year or income, whatever, to just say, yeah, but I'm not rich. It's those people up there that are rich. And I think I quote this statistic in the book, that a third of the people on one of the Occupy Wall Street marches had six-figure earnings. And so what that means is you've got a bunch of people who are, by any kind of reasonable definition of the income distribution, doing pretty well, and I think increasingly well over time, but have been convinced one way or the other that actually it's just the rich that are the problem, and they are never rich themselves. And in a way, that's an abdication, because then that allows them to just constantly say, yes, we should tax the rich more, but I'm not rich. And that just keeps happening all the way up the distribution. And I think that to the extent that we've tried that as a political strategy, it hasn't really worked. And so I think it's time for a more honest conversation about the fact that there are more people than just the top 1% doing pretty well. And that's, as I say, that's my interpretation of roughly where you see this fracture point opening up in the income distribution.